Today, our first caller is going to be Josh in Redwood City, California.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Josh.
Quickly, I'm an atheist. I don't actually believe in the supernatural. However, I've heard it said by the host of the show, most often Matt, but some others, that science, by definition, cannot show supernatural causation. I think this is wrong. I think this misportrays the atheist position. It makes Christians think the atheists are dogmatically opposed to it. Because the Christians here, well, science can never show supernatural causation, and the only way we know about the universe is science, so thus I'll never be able to show, that God exists.
If science could examine it, wouldn't it be natural?
If you want to define supernatural that way, then it's a deity.
Well, wait. How are you defining supernatural?
I don't like the terms. I try to avoid them. So how do you want to define them?
I'm not defining it. You called, right? You threw the term down, so let's hear your definition.
I'm calling in because I don't like it when the hosts say science cannot show supernatural causation, because either it's trivially true or it's false.
Okay, and I'm asking, since I'm not the host that said it, I'm asking.
I'm not either,
what
and I'm
is
still trying to decide
mean?
which way I would go on this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if it means that science, that supernatural means not examinable by science.
I don't know that. I mean, is that what it means?
I don't know.
Okay.
So neither of you say that, then I guess I should call in next week.
I don't really know what supernatural is.
That's the problem with a lot of terms like supernatural and spiritual and stuff, that people define it in these vague ways to be outside of the realm of examination. And, when they define it that way, when they say, people sometimes tell us, oh, you can't examine this thing because it's supernatural. It's hard to argue with because we can't get them to nail down a definition a lot of the times. I mean, I'm sure that you've seen Tracie be on and somebody says the word spiritual to her.
Yeah.
And Tracie is always like, what in the world are you talking about? And
no, I completely agree.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing with you. I think that I probably would agree with you. I think it's a different way of handling the question. I would say that I agree with you. I agree with you that when these terms are thrown down, they should not be accepted at face value, and they need to be defined. And the definition that's given to you should not be accepted unless it is something that makes coherent sense and can be demonstrated in some way. If you can't demonstrate it, you can't show me what you're talking about, you can't explain a coherent definition of what you're talking about, like saying to me outside of nature, my question then is, what is that? What does that mean? So when they throw down a definition that fails, it's called a failure to elucidate, that fails to actually explain what they're talking about, they're just simply using more words to tell me nothing, that is not really helping, that's not defining it, and that's not acceptable as a definition. They need to nail it down to something that we know what they're pointing at. And if they can't explain what they're pointing at, then they don't know what they're talking about, and I can't have a conversation that makes sense because we don't know what we're talking about. And I think that what happens sometimes, and we probably are guilty of this, and honestly, even though I look at it this way, you could probably go back and find me talking about supernatural stuff on past shows. I wouldn't sit here and say I never have. But sometimes those definitions are so commonly used, they get thrown down, and the hosts, like I think a lot of people, tend to sort of accept it without questioning it just because this is a live show. And sometimes we don't think on the fly as well as we should. So it is possible that a host goes forward with somebody basically saying God, and we don't stop and question it, and we just start having the conversation, and later that makes problems. So yes, we probably are guilty of agreeing to a term without having it properly defined, and it probably did lead to some weird stuff. So I think you probably have a valid point with what you're talking about.
Maybe. I mean, I would have to go back and see the actual show and then, discuss it with whoever said it. And, I mean, if it was me, I still might not agree with me.
But there's been times
having had more time to think about it.
I have accepted words that were thrown down that I should not have.
Okay.
So
I guess we're in agreement. I might have to call back next week or so.
Probably.
Yeah, I would say I think that's the case.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling.
Sure.
Bye.